Hello and welcome to Dels Gaming. I'm Del and this is Dels Astronautical Space Center in Kerbal Space Program. And we're back in here with our brave little Kerbals. We'll just see, I don't think we've got anything actually outstanding. Our next plan of action, if we just go into our center here, we've got nothing. What was this here? Well, we've got an opportunity to launch over there. We have some debris from one of our items, which is basically in a stable orbit now. I don't think it's ever going to come down. It might do, because that is at a 69, so it's potentially possible that that could come down at some point in the future. But generally, we're stable. What have we got? We've got some contracts. If we just go and look at our contracts quickly, we have some available ones which we decided not to do at the moment. This one, we want you to test the Thumper solid landed at Kerbin. Okay, that one we could possibly take in because we do use that Thumper, so if that's available, I think I'll take that one. Take the Thumper because we've got plenty of time to get that one. And we are setting ourselves up as a tourist at the moment. And what have we got available at the moment? We've got quite a few little touristy type of suborbital flights to complete. They'll get us reputation. Some of them are quite involved actually. Some of them are like this suborbital flight, which means we have to take them up to I think it's above 60,000 and then back to Earth, so it never actually orbits. This one here is a double, so we've got the suborbital and then we have to go orbital. And this one's an orbit as well, so there's a couple of orbit ones. Fly to the Moon, that's fine. Getting from space around, so we can do that as part of the suborbital if we get to above the 70,000, so that's cool. And we got this one is 3 ones, which is worth quite a lot actually. We've got suborbital flight and a orbit around Kerbin for each of them, or suborbital on Kerbin, and a flyby of Minmus, which is one of the things, and this is a flyby Minmus and a suborbital. So we can do the suborbitals. This is this new, we've got a couple of tests. So we've got to perform test, activate the part through the staging sequence, then all tests are met. So we have to do the Rockomax brand decoupler on a suborbital trajectory over Kerbin. So we have to eject the Rockomax brand decoupler at between 80 to 96,000. So we might be able to do this on one of our suborbital flights. And also this one is the Thumper booster being used basically at the start. So okay, we're going to do a couple of ones here. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll fill up on that regard. So let's have a look at this suborbital flight and get this guy out. So this is Janix. Okay, now what we have to do for this is we're going to use a bit of testing. I want to do some tests as well at the same time. I want to use this suborbital flights to at the same time test some of our some of our thrust dynamics of how much we need to do various elements for the future, and also some parachute systems, etc. Now, what I've got a plan for is we need a command pod, and we're gonna need, let's see, some way of that coming back to Earth. So we will need a parachute. We're gonna put in some goo collectors so we can get some science. Whoops, I'm going to put that in as a double. There we go. Now these passengers cannot control the flight, so we will get no stabilization as part of these suborbital flights, which is a little annoying. Now I want to be able to take the science. If we're doing these flights, I want to get as much science from different areas as I can using this science module. So that's another important one. Now I'm going to use the heat shield on all of my ships. Previously I'd got away without using them, but I think that's more luck than judgment. Now to do a little bit of stabilization, this is one of the items which people talked about mods. By using the flight computer here, I think we get a little bit of control on this system. So I'm going to try that. We'll see what that actually gives us. So we're going to put that in, and also this board here. Actually, I'm going to take that off. Oh, I can put that on top of it. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't know I could do that. Right, that's fine. Let's see what that gives me. So we've got that and those two. Okay, fine. Wasn't aware of that. Right, now we're gonna need a basic. First of all, we're just going suborbital. So my first flights, what I want to do is test some altitudes. What is the delta V required to get to a number of different altitudes and land the lander? So I want to just do a test first of our basic system. Whoops, I've forgotten to put a decoupler in here. So we're going to also use this to do one of those very first tests, which is the thumper. So which one's that? That's the thumper, this one here. So we're going to use that just as a first test. So we're just going to do that straight up and back down again. Nice and simple, really. Now we've got this Rocco Max, which is a large one, which we won't use now, we'll use later on. So at the moment we're just going to do this. Very simple rocket. Put some fins just to get a bit of stabilization, and that's it. So this is 1500 delta V. I just want to see what is the AP, what is our actual height we can get as an AP value for this amount of delta V. Okay. So I'm going to work it out as the delta V on this here is 1566, and we'll check what our AP value is from blast off. So this is for, I'm purely looking at our launch dynamics in an aerial situation that we've got here from launch, because I want to use this for working out what we need to be able to launch up to our intended 100-kilometer height. So let's just make sure our staging is correct. Now, first thing I'm going to do is we'll rename this to APTest I. We'll just save that. Okay, we're going to go for a launch. Now we're good that. Oops, I didn't see whether we actually got a Kerbal. I don't want anyone on board on this, but this first one I have to make sure. Do not press the spacebar. I want to do some tests from this landing pod, because I've got a feeling if I do open my materials bay, yes, we can get some science without going anywhere. Let's see here. Have we done science from here? We have a little bit of science, we'll cover that. And can we do a crew report? Nothing on the crew report. Okay, that's fine. Now we're just going to go back to recover the vessel. And that's immediately given us a little bit of science, which is important because that does, for the next stage, open up a whole raft of possibilities. We're now at 53 science, which basically means we can get some points. Now the next thing I want to do, we're going to go back here, is I want to take out the Kerbal. We don't want any crew on this. So you can see, as you see down here, we've got all of these tourists that we're going to take on the various flights. So, okay, what we're first going to do is going to launch without anyone. Right, it's not controllable. At the moment we have no way of controlling this craft, which is not what we want. We obviously need some way, either a probe or some way of controlling it, which is why we went for that science. Or I've got to put an engineer in, someone in there so that we can control it. So let's go back here and check our R&D. See if we can get something. We only need a basic probe system to allow us to do this. So if we go to the R&D facility, so with our new 53 points, we could go for what's instability. We have these radial decouplers, which is something I want. They will be very useful, but we'll try and get those over a few items. Basic science. This could be the one. The Stay Putnik and the thermometers is a key here. That will allow us to the IR is the MechJeb one, but we might not use that. Worry about that. Yeah, I think that will give us what we want. This basic science here, the probe is, we can put that on the top, and that will, so if we research that, so we're now down to 8, and next we're gonna want these radial couplers. I think so, that's 18. Maybe these eventually, but yeah, possibly the 18 there. We need to make our way up slowly through some of this. Just checking to see what else would be handy. I think this one would be the next handiest one. So we need 18 science points, so 10 more science points. Right, if we go back to our vehicle, and we're going to do a couple of little changes. So what we need is some control. So what we're going to do, without allowing for the fact that there's no one on board, so we're going to get rid of that there, and we're going to put a Stay Putnik module on the top. That will give us some control, and then we're going to put a parachute, because the current parachute system, if I find it, I don't think it's going to allow us to put that anywhere. No, we can't put that anywhere except on the top, but we can use this radial parachute. So I'm going to use the radial parachute, and we're going to put that where's the center of mass. Oh, let's turn that off for a second. If we oops, put that on there again. Try and select, there we go. Right, take that off, take that off. So now the center of mass, because we want this to be slightly above the center of mass, basically, so that when it comes down slightly downwards. Now what we could do is, just to be on the safe side, is put it there. There we go. So when that gets put on, that's fine. Okay, so now we'll make sure there's no Kerbal on board. No Kerbal on board, excellent. Now we should be able to control this and check to make sure that we can actually land this safely and control it, even if there is not a pilot on board. The only other thing we might need is a rechargeable battery pack. I'm going to put a couple of those on, because if we lose battery power, then we'll also lose control. So we cannot afford to lose battery. So let's save that and go for our launch now this time. So now it's not complained about having no control. So this is all fun. Okay, so let's see what we get as far as an AP. So this we'll check that the figures were a delta V at the moment of about 1500. So let's see what we get now. There's no controls on this. This is just a basically launch, and when we do get up, what we will do is do the various experiments at different heights. So we'll get ready to open this up just after launch. See, there's another little recovery. There we go. Keep that data. Oh, we're getting a bit of loss here. Have we got any stability? Can't use SAS. Trying to stabilize that. And we've done the one contract complete. So we got an AP of 21,000 was the highest on the AP on that. Let's eject that. Whoa, that was a bad mistake. I forgot to check our staging. Right, so I need to adjust the staging, but our highest AP on there was 21,000, but it wasn't sustainable. Our actual height, I think, yeah, about 10,000. AP was 21,000. But our actual, we'll put it down as 21,000 for the moment. That was with 1,566. So let's do now. I'm not sure whether I have to, if I do a reset and then review data, yeah, it's still there. So we're getting 17 points of recovery. Oh, we can do a goo. Is that going to give us anything? Yeah, 0.4, we might as well keep it. I forgot to put some then if we just reset it, there we go. Right, keep that data. I forgot to, we could put some thermometers on. I don't think these flight recorders do anything at the moment. I'm not sure what they do. They're part of MechJeb, but I'm assuming they allow us some control. Now let's just check. Our electricity is fine. Yep, we're at 260. Okay, we're coming down nicely with that parachute. That's cool. Let's just experiment up. But I needed to change. We had a bit of damage. Hopefully it will not. But that's why we did this as an unmanned mission. So I'm just speeding up time. Let's see, let's hope. There it goes. It just expands in time and comes down quite nicely. Okay, so I'm happy if we put someone in. Whoa. Okay, we just lost that. Something went wrong there. Did we land a little too quick or at an angle? It did not like something there. Ooh, that's annoying. We just lost all of that science. But the module was okay. Okay. Let's recover the vessel. But that's very annoying because we didn't get the science I was hoping for. Science 9. Yeah, we didn't get anything from the science there effectively. Okay. Review. What happened there? Was it because of that parachute? Let's go and have a look at our the settings on that particular item. There is one other way we can do this, where we don't care. How much are those modules? 800. It's not a lot. See, yeah, its crash tolerance is only 6 meters a second. Now there is one other way we can do this, just to be on the double safe shore system. for this, and it also prepares us for larger ones. Okay, so APTest I was not as successful as I would have liked, but now if we double this up, so where can we put this where we're going to get 2 of them? It makes sense to put it there, so okay, let's put it there. Let's put these the batteries on top of that. Okay, that's fine. And then let's put these, so make sure they about line up there. So we should end up with 2 parachutes. That's the aim. So that should give us our ability. Right, okay, now we did get that nice little item, and we tested what the 1500 gave us. So now we're going to test it a little bit more. Now I'm not happy, obviously stability wise we lost a bit of stability without having a pilot, but I think this time we can put a pilot in, or well, I think we've got to be allowed for the fact that we can't stabilize the control of this system. And that's the other thing I can put in here, is a temperature gauge. Right, we put 2 of them in as well. Right, where can we put them? Because they're another thing which is more science. We'll put that there. It's one of those, so we can get a little bit more science as we go around with these temperature gauges. Actually, let's put temperature gauge up there. We're safer up with a goo canister. There we go. So it's up there, so we can get a bit of temperature readings as well. This is all extra science, which gets us the R&D. Once I've done the R&D, I won't worry too much about it, but it's part of the game. Now, one thing I can do is to ensure we get it, if we're not worried about crash tolerances, is send it back by radio communication. But we'll give this one more shot. Now I'm going to have to control this manually, but what about if we increase the number of rockets? Now we can either go for hammers and have this as a 2-part, or and just do a general increase in delta V without going too mad. So we'll leave that solid booster here. Yeah, what other options that we don't? One thing we've got to be careful of is we don't want too heavy an acceleration in one go. So I think we'll leave that as our first booster, and then we might put a hammer in here. Just see what that does with another decoupler. Whoops, wrong one. And we also need to make sure, before I go any further, I sort out that there. Okay, sorry. And then put that on there. So our delta V, according to this, is only 1000 now. So according to that, we'll actually do less than we did before, which would be interesting, because the first stage has got to push that much more for the second stage to do less. That stage is 1011. Let's okay, let's something's one of these is not thrusting. Okay, that one is in the wrong place. That's got to be down there. Stage, decouple, stage, that one can come off, power, decouple. Okay, 1954. So let's see what, so 1954 delta V. Now I'm going to add some little fins, just a 3-way on this one, just to save some parts. And we'll see what we can get with APTest II. And we're going to, so this is going to test our landing facilities, our landing items. and we'll also get some temperature settings when we're on the launch pad. See if we can get, and also see if we can get this settings as we go up this time and actually end up with them. If we land correctly, then we hopefully should have them available for us. So let's see, now we should, oh shit, I did that one again. Let's observe bay there, we have nothing there, keep that data. Log temperature, keep that data. Reset that bay material. Okay, we're getting a little off, trying to correct. That side is off, trying to correct first before I bring in this rocket. Come on, don't need to do it now. So what's our maximum? Trying to keep control. 20 up, 21, 22, 27, 28. I'm keeping an eye on our AP, trying to control this. 38,000 was our maximum AP. Right, we'll get rid of that. So 38,000, but this is not easily controllable at this side. We need some better winglets, etc., to control this a little bit better. But that got us up to 38,000 for only a little bit extra AP delta V, mainly because we were now in a what should we say, out of the general atmosphere. So although our actual real term height wasn't as high as that, our actual 28k is our actual AP. So 28k is our highest point within a 28,800. 28,800 I think is what we need to do, is the stabilized AP before we came down again. So yeah, we attained an altitude of 28,800 as an actual altitude. I should have checked with the previous one as well what our real altitude is. Right, we're going to land in this area which potentially is not great again. But let's see, we'll wait until our, what I'm waiting for here before I launch the parachutes is our vertical speed to go down a bit. Ideally I like to launch it when our vertical speed is only about 200 meters a second. Now as we're descending, the atmosphere, as you can see at the top, is getting thicker, which means we're getting more and more drag, and it means we would get more. Now let's just see, we might be able to see if we can get any mystery goo here. We'll take it, don't think we'll get it. What about the temperature, log temperature? Yeah, we might as well get that as well. So hopefully if we come down, our speed is 240, 230, almost. Let's see, 205. Right, let's launch both parachutes. So this is a dual parachute. That should slow us up to well within the required 6 meters a second, I think it was, for this science unit. So we need to be well below that. That's one of those rockets that is descending. There's the Hammer rocket down there. Let's just speed up the time a little. So yeah, we're down to 5 meters a second on our descent. So that's given us enough additional reduction in speed to really reduce that. That's excellent. So we should be able to survive and feel happy that we can use them if we get any delicate equipment like human beings and tourists. We feel more safe with two parachutes to be able to get them down. So there we go, nicely landed. Thank you very much, guys. Now if we recover that, come on, we're waiting for the recovery. Luckily the recovery doesn't cost anything. Right, so we actually got 20 science. We're up to 20 science. 11.6 science earned for the mystery goo, temperature can while flying low over Kerbal shores, curbing grasslands, and oh, we didn't seem to get the from the science junior. Okay, so that's the only one that we didn't get. Maybe I didn't do that properly. Okay, I will have to review something I did incorrectly on that. Okay, but I'm happy with that result. We got 28,800, so now we need to take that up another level. Right, okay, so I'm happy, sort of happy. Actually, before I go here, let's go and have a look, see what we can get with our new amount of science. Get those new items and help them just on our next experiment. We'll get one more quick experiment done, I think. So R&D, we'll enter there. So I think we're going to go for these stability, because that's going to give these winglets and also radial decouplers, which are both, these nose cones aren't really as useful on rockets, but they do work on the planes. So let's go into the research there. That's done, and the next one is going to be I think what's our next one? This terrier is going to be very important, but and maybe that fuel tank, possibly that rocketry there, general construction, not sure, brand decoupler, yeah, so on that. Flight control, no, I think the rocketry would be our next one to go for. We'll just check electrics. The only other one is this would be good because it gives us stability assist for our unmanned flights and the photoelectric panel to keep charged. So this would be the next level of very potential, but it's 90 science required, which is a lot. Some miniaturization. Okay, some and the docking unit. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, space exploration. Now this is handy. This is actually a crew capacity, very similar to what we've got. So you can actually carry 4 extra people on board, which could be handy for our tourist system we're putting up. So we could have a pilot and also people on board. That's interesting. More science and a ladder. Okay, so of those ones, I think actually electrics or space exploration, both really. Okay, so we're going to do one more test, and now that we've got a couple of extra items, because I want to put some different winglets on the bottom and increase this a little further. So okay, we need to increase the delta V a little further still. Now before I go further, we're doing a lot of testing here, and it's a matter of, well, why are we doing this? Why don't I just tell you what the results? Well, one of the things is Kerbal is all about testing, and I also don't want to just look all of this stuff up on somewhere. I want to do this for myself and find out what I've done a fair bit of calculation of systems, but I'm really trying to work this out for myself so that I can work this out as a, well, trying to think of the right wording here, I can design my own ships. I know why I have done it, rather than just reading something on a forum that says, do it this way. I want to find out why people do it this way, you know, what is the reason for it. Now, okay, and I'm going to take a slightly different, now that I've got these slightly better wings, I'm going to do a slightly different vehicle now. I'm going to use a liquid jet, just liquid fuel, to try and get us up. So I'm going to use 4 liquid fuel, and let's see what, because also liquid fuel I can adjust how much is in there. Now I'm going to use the Reliant because it's the best. I think I said previously about the ASL, if I do the more data, the values of the LSP, which is basically the liquid fuel usage, we can see which is the most efficient. Now at thrust at sea level, this has got 200, and I need that thrust to get this up, although once in space it would be better in theory to go with the others. So now we're at 2500 delta V. Now we could take that down a little bit. Let's just see if I do that and take that one away. That's 2,200. Okay, that's a nice 2,200 delta V. That's a nice move on from where we had previously. And now I'm going to do the aerodynamics, and I'm going to use these much bigger winglets on this. There we go. There we go. And it's only going to be a single stage rocket. This is not a multi-stage, this is just going to be a single stage rocket, nice and quite large. It's got all of these the items for controlling it. We're still not going to take a passenger until I'm sure we've got a stable suborbital flight available. Now TWR is quite high, 596, which would mean that's our thrust to weight ratio, which is good, but could mean that initially we get too high a G's. So we've got to get our TWR roughly right. Our fuel usage 300. Okay. At maximum we've got 54 seconds of burn. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on our throttle settings, I think, on this one. So okay, let's go back to the launch pad and we'll do this one more. So yeah, I'm doing all of this testing, and it's a matter of should I bother? I think so. I think it's important. Okay, now I want to, what I didn't get last time, I'm going to be very careful not to hit the staging. I also need to make sure the staging is correct. Yep. Did I get that throttle from the landing last time? There we go. Log temperature. Oh yeah, no, we can keep that. Okay. Okay, that's fine. And we'll get some when we are suborbital, and I want to get that as well. So okay, now we're going to have to start at full throttle to get us open, but if our G goes too high or our temperature, I'm going to back off of the throttle, and I'm going to be prepared for that. Now again, we don't have any assist at this moment, so we're going to have to do this manually at the same time, but I'm hoping these winglets will give us a much more ballistic flight. So let's see how we do on this. That's good. Our forces, our G forces are okay. We're leaning a little bit. I'm giving it a little bit of right here to try and bring us back online. It's not wanting to go at the moment. I'm taking our speed down a little bit because we're starting to get a bit hot. Giving it full right, but we're unbalanced on this at the moment, which is not good. Obviously something's unbalancing us over this way. I need to rebalance our module to get a good symmetry. We've obviously not got a good symmetry somewhere, but our delta V is 18,000. Oh, we're starting to lose it a little bit. Come on, I'm throttling down to try and get some performance to try and get us back. Well, we're up to 28,000, 29,000 on our AP, but we'll see actually how far we actually get. We're nearly there. I think it was full power. Right, okay, 46,000 on the AP. And we'll separate. Let's see what our true value is, where we actually get to. That's our zero rate. So what is our true AP after acceleration? We're not going to quite get into atmosphere here. What we can do is do our observation. Excellent. 22 science for that. Now if I reset, we've still got review data, so that should be, yeah, we're okay on there. Reset. Now I'm guessing the reset doesn't actually reset it. It's just or do I need to leave that open? I didn't think I needed to leave that open. I didn't think. Okay, 43,000. We're still climbing. So we're coming at, that was 43,800. Was our highest point. So if I do keep data and then reset, it just closes it. Correct or not correct? I'm going to leave it open because I mean I'm not certain on that, so we might do a test. We'll keep it open, but I'm going to leave it open. Okay, let's try goo. Open mystery goo. Is that to observe mystery goo? Okay, we'll keep that data. And thermometer. Have we got another thermometer I can use? Come on. Let's see if I can. There we go, in chase mode. So hopefully no hot. Right, log temperature. Right, keep that. That's some more science. Right, so we're descending over the grasslands. I'll just speed it up now that I don't need to observe it. We'll wait until our speed gets low enough and our altitude is down. But that was a successful in many ways. We except for the somewhere we've got an instability. Now we have got a slight difference on some of these units, so that's all I can say. It seemed to be heading towards one of these sides instead of going straight up, so I will go and review those. Right, we need to put out our, almost forgot the parachutes. That would have been a little embarrassing. Yeah, I'll need to look at some of this here. I've obviously unbalanced one of these settings. They need to make sure they're all absolutely parallel if we haven't got this control system in place. But okay, we're landing with this open because, as I say, I'm not sure whether it needs to be or not. Right, we're a good 5 meters a second, so we've got no problems in that regard. Okay, landed. Recover. Let's see what science we got, because science is good. We're up to 43 science. That was a good 41.1 science earned on that one trip. So we got the mystery goo, upper atmosphere science, scan from the launch pad, and yep, okay, so we did well there. That was good, and some parts, excellent. So that was successful, except I need to look at the balance of that craft. So okay, yeah, so it's just testing. You can see it's incremental testing the delta V's just to see how far we can and can't go. So our next stage is to test the a higher delta V for suborbital, i.e. 60 to 70,000. So we're looking at possibly a multi-staged to get us maybe about 3,500 delta V. I think that will get us up to the 60, 70,000. So we'll have a look at that anyway. So hopefully leave us any comments if you like what I'm doing or not. As I say, if there's any comments or questions, please let me know. But until next time, have fun.